Hey guys, it has been a while since I've done a video showing off part of my comic collection, and you guys seem to really enjoy these videos, and I really like making them, so wanted to bring it back with a bang. So we're doing the main man, Lobo. Lobo has had a renewed popularity as of late, it seems. He is being played by Jason Momoa in James Gunn's DCU. He has been showing up a lot in recent titles, and he is confirmed to be getting his own ongoing series written by Scotty Young next year. So right now is the best time to get into Lobo if you are not already. So we're going to start off by talking about his first appearance, which I have right here, and that is Omega Men 3. And I do have an original printing of that. They did put out a facsimile that looks very similar, but this is an original copy right here, and I wanted to be able to read the story, and so I actually have one of these reprints that I used as my reader copy. So what do I think of Lobo's first appearance? Well, honestly, I think it's kind of a mid first appearance. Like, in terms of the actual book itself, I love that he's on the cover, and the look is pretty similar to the look that we wind up getting. So this may have been Lobo, but he had a long way to go before becoming the main man. And so what I kind of like to think of as a first appearance of Lobo is actually here in Justice League International number 18. This is where Lobo actually kind of gets the personality that we know him as, and his longtime feud with Guy Gardner starts off in this issue. So that's been going on for a long time. They even referenced that in the House of Brainiac series from last year. So this book is really cool. Of course, I'm glad that I have it. I'm glad to have such a nice copy. But overall, I think that, this book is like the first appearance of the Lobo character that we know. But in all seriousness, if you're going to start reading Lobo, I would tell you to start with this. This is the 4-issue mini-series, The Last Zarnian. And this was the first time Lobo got his own title, so it was a 4-issue set. And a lot of the art for Lobo in his early years was done by Simon Beasley, with Alan Grant writing. And something else cool I have is I actually have this box set. Normally I have that up there along with my first appearance of Lobo. In this box set we have 3 trade paperbacks, and one of them is The Last Zarnian right here. So I also have it in trade paperback. This is what I would recommend as a first Lobo reading. You really do get a perfect introduction to the character, because mixed in with the comic, there are also these pages from a Lobo biography that was written by his 4th grade teacher, because Lobo, he is the last Zarnian, the last of his race, and the reason for that is because he killed all of his people. And yeah, I forgot to mention, a lot of violence, a lot of very offensive stuff happens in these books, so if you're sensitive to that, this definitely isn't the video for you. Figured maybe I should mention that. I've had people get kind of upset before when I just describe some of the stuff Lobo does. So Lobo killed all of his people, but one of them survived, and it's the last person he would have wanted to survive, because it's his 4th grade teacher who he absolutely can't stand, that lady right there. And so mixed in throughout the book, you get these little pages that are kind of her analysis of Lobo. So Lobo's 4th grade teacher, who he thought was dead all these years, wound up writing this biography. So Lobo's job for this book is he has to bring this lady in, but he has to bring her in alive, and the whole book is just him struggling to do that while she is annoying him. It really just gives you a perfect idea of what the main man is all about. Very enjoyable introduction to the character of Lobo. Sorry, I would apologize, but I don't think Lobo would approve. I think if you read this, you'll have an idea of whether you're gonna like this character or not. So there you have it, the first 4-issue series, The Last Zarnian. And this ran from 1990 through to 1991. So, very much a 90s book, but in a way that it's fun because it's kind of like a parody of all that stuff. Lobo's had a lot of mini-series and one-shots. I think he's only had one ongoing series so far, but he's had a lot of one-shots, and I tend to really like his one-shots a lot. The next book I'm going to show I picked up very recently, and I was actually kind of holding out on doing this video until I got this book. And this is one I almost picked up recently for like $10, but I found it when I was digging through this new unsorted collection at another shop, and the owner of the shop just kind of threw it in with the other stuff I was buying, so I basically got this for free, and it's the Lobo Paramilitary Christmas Special, and man, this is a crazy book. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff that happens, but I'll just give you the quick rundown. So, Lobo is hired by the Easter Bunny to take out Santa Claus, and you got a little bit of a warning there, that this is not a normal Christmas book, just in case if anyone couldn't figure that out by everything else going on there. So if you're someone who doesn't really like Christmas very much, this might get you in the holiday spirit. If Mariah Carey isn't really your thing, maybe Lobo will be. So after that, we're getting into another 4-issue mini-series. This one is from 1992, and it's called Lobo's Back. So it's issue number 1. And this is a crazy story. So essentially, Lobo dies, and he ends up in heaven because hell doesn't want him. And he doesn't last for too long. Nobody can handle Lobo, heaven or hell. So they figure out a way to reincarnate him and send him back to Earth. But the first time they do it, they send him back as a woman. And he's the main man, so that's not going to work out. So gets himself killed again, goes back. He gets sent back as like a squirrel or some crazy shit like that. And then at the end, Lobo's finally back. This one was a lot of fun. Just another wild, wild story right there. And this is one that I have not read, but the cover on it was really, really cool. This is the Lobo Convention Special. And you just get a bunch of homages to classic comic covers featuring the main man. So, had to have that one. I think this was like a dollar bin buy or something like that. And this is another one that I just read recently. I've actually had this set for a while. I bought these as a full set, and I just kind of keep them together in this one bag. So, pull out each of the books. This is American Gladiators from 93. There's issue 1, issue 2. And this one definitely wasn't my favorite Lobo story, but I enjoyed it. It was kind of like Lobo is on this TV show that's like this gladiator-style deathmatch tournament. So there we have all 4 issues. So this was cool. I'm glad to have it for the collection, but definitely not one of my favorites. It just seemed like a little bit more generic. Like the death battle thing is just kind of done a lot, but still really cool to see. Alright, so then we have 1994, and we're going to start with an annual. This is Lobo Annual number 2, and this was when they did the Elseworlds theme. So you have Lobo in the Old West, and there were actually, I think, 18 stories in here. And, you know, some of them are better than others. A lot of them are just kind of Lobo shooting a bunch of people. But one of them that really stood out to me that I thought was funny, I don't remember who wrote it. You have these 2 guys that are arguing over some land, and they are each like, oh, I hired a hitman. And they realize as he gets off the train that they both hired Lobo to kill each other, and he just takes them both out and takes right off with their money. So that one is probably my favorite in this entire annual. I love the Elseworlds books, and I'm glad they did this year of annuals where we got to see more characters like Lobo in kind of an Elseworld setting, so very cool. If you haven't checked that one out, definitely recommend it. And then we have Lobo Cop from 94. And I actually just recently watched RoboCop, the original one, for the first time. I have not read this. I was waiting to actually watch the RoboCop movie, so I'll have to check that one out soon. I think this was another dollar bin pickup, another one-shot. And then we have another 4-issue mini-series. This one is A Contract on God. So we have issue 1, issue 2... and I have not read these ones, issue 3 and issue 4. I've had these ones for a while, but just never got around to reading them. So yeah, maybe another one where Lobo goes to heaven. This one's from 94. And then I think this is the last one from 94. This is Lobo issue number 0 from the 0 Hour story, and I don't know, I just like picking these up. I think the covers look cool on them. This was one that I got very recently in a big dollar bin haul. And then this one doesn't have a year on it, so I don't remember. I think it was 95 though. This is Lobo and Deadman, the Brave and the Bald. And that is some very freaky cover art right there. That is interesting. I have not read this one. This is another one I just picked up because it was cheap and I hadn't seen it before. There are a lot of these interesting Lobo books that just never know exist until I find them in a dollar bin or something like that. Like, here's another weird one-shot I've never heard of until recently. Lobo's Big Babe Spring Break, and you can see they strategically placed the barcode in a very interesting place. Big muscles, big guns, big boobies. It just screams 90s. I mean, there you go. I've not read this one. This was another one picked up for really cheap at a local show recently. This is another one I got recently. I got this one along with the Christmas special, so the owner of the shop just kind of threw it in with some other stuff I was buying. And this one's Lobo Goes to Hollywood, another weird one-shot I didn't know existed until I found it. And still haven't read this one, but, you know, I just got it. So I will definitely be checking this one out soon. Looks like a lot of fun. Okay. And then we have Lobo Chained, another one-shot. I think this was another dollar bin pickup. And I believe this was 1997, so year I was born, and we're getting down there to the end of the stack, but there's still some good books to show. So I don't have a lot from the ongoing Lobo series. I just tend to like picking up the one-shots and the mini-series, but I do have a couple that looked interesting. So this is Lobo number 42. I just thought that one was an interesting cover. You got Lobo looking all dapper. The Dance of Death. I don't know. That was another dollar bin pickup. And this one was one that I got at a local show kind of recently. And this one is actually a little bit more valuable than some of the other Lobo books. A lot of these books are kind of dollar bin type books, but this one, because it is so late in the run and the print count was kind of low, this one can be kind of harder to find. And it's Lobo number 63. I think this was the second to last issue, and it's part 1 of 2 of a story featuring Etrigan the Demon. I really like that cover, and I was lucky to find this at a local show for like $7 a little while back. I see people charging a lot more for this one online. So I think those are the only 2 that I have from Lobo's like mainline collection. So like I showed you guys before, I have this box set. And this is cool. This is like old and out of print, and I found it at a local comic shop, and we couldn't even find a price. So like there's no cover price on this box or anything, so I remember we had a hard time finding the value on it, and I think I got a good deal. So in that box, along with The Last Sarnian, the first 4-issue series, it also has Lobo's greatest hits. So it seems like this book is a lot of his stuff before getting his own series, which is kind of cool. So you can read that, and then you can read his first series. And then this one, if a Lobo one-shot is still too much reading for you, I would recommend The Wisdom of Lobo. It's some pretty heavy reading, just be warned. It's a blank book. So then just have a few more weird things and more modern books. So this right here is a reprint of the first Superman Lobo fight, and I do have that original comic somewhere, but I did not dig it out for this, mainly because that's a Superman book, but figured I would just show that one off. So this is the first fight between Superman and Lobo, reprinted in 2002. And in case if you missed it, this is one of my favorite comics from last year. So if you're not someone who reads a lot of modern comics, but you really like this stuff from the 90s, I would highly recommend checking out the Lobo cancellation special. This was a crazy book, and I just love that cover. That is just really all you need to know going into it. It's a Lobo one-shot. It's good stuff. You should read it. And I also got the variant cover by Simon Beasley. Who else? And more Cowboy Lobo. Just some great stuff. So, yeah, like I said, if you're not the biggest on modern comics, I would still check out the Lobo cancellation. And this one is not really a Lobo comic, but it just came out, and I had to throw this in. This is the Marvel DC crossover book, Deadpool Batman, and they did a bit of a Lobo Wolverine crossover that they called Logo. Not really a Lobo book, but had to throw it in. So that is it for my Lobo collection. That is, of course, not every book I have that contains Lobo in it, but I was trying to keep it just streamlined to his own title or his first appearance, which was in a different title. And let me know what you guys think of Lobo. He seems to be having a bit of a resurgence in popularity, but of course he's always been a very controversial character. I have had people kind of get upset at me just for describing some of the stuff Lobo does in his books. Like, they were not holding anything back at DC in the 90s. So let me know, is it all good fun, or do you think it goes a little too far? Personally, I think it's all in good fun. I've always kind of liked dark, offensive humor, so that's just me, but let me know what you guys think, and let me know what you thought of my collection. And I would say peace out, but we're talking about Lobo here, so